Going in first thing when you just launch off and suddenly you're weightless. And then the next touch for me is anticipation of what I may or may not see. Each day is different with the visibility and the temperature and the tide, but it's always a bit exciting. I was born in Western Australia just before World War II, and we got very close to the water from a very early age. Everyone could swim to begin with. I mean, you got taught to swim by being taken out in the South Fremantle jetty and just dropped off the end. That was absolutely standard procedure. And you learn to see and think underwater. I went out on a long reef once and an octopus came out and he saw me and I saw him and I sort of waved a bit and he looked at me again, said, you know, something going on. Came out with me all the way on the reef, probably 30 metres, 20 metres, and then let me go into the deep waters. And when I came back, he was waiting for me. We came in together and I did that for about 2 weeks. And so that sort of thing gives you an early heads up on those sort of things. But at 17 I went into the Air Force and that took me out of the opportunity to get near the water or any environmental stuff. When you're flying around in bombers, you're not really thinking about the environment very much. And it was only when we went down to Dramana to live for a while, and I went down and started doing a few things, putting my head under, thinking about it because I was older and had a bit more time on my hands. And that enabled me to join a group like Marine Care Ricketts Point in its early days. And I was ultimately president of that and built it up to a couple of hundred people and a lot of activity. It was quite dismaying after diving and swimming at Portway and places like that and all around there with quality clear water to come up here and see what was up near the city. Very early on, Ricketts Point was awful. Fortunately, the declaration of the sanctuary started to make a big difference. There was a slow recovery and after 7 years, you wouldn't have been aware that it was so bad as it had been. So I saw all that happening and that was lovely to see. And then the fish started coming back. And a classic example would be the morwong. They used to be about 30 centimetres long and nose down, very frightened. They'd move very, very quickly. People speared them all the time because it's so easy to get into Ricketts Point. And today, when the sanctuary's fully recovered, the dusky morwong are now about 60 centimetres long, 4 times the mass, and they're relaxed. They'll be sitting down like that, eating, and you come past and they'll look at you and just ignore you and keep on eating. You know, so that's a dramatic marker for me of just how much it has changed. And it's quite vital today. It's full of life and full of fish of all kinds. I kind of like the banjo sharks. They look like a big stingray, but they're not. They haven't got a sting. And the big mother there was there one day and she was pregnant. And I thought, oh good, I'll go down and pat a baby bump because it's like a football. And so I sort of did a negative descent, moved toward her very gently and then started patting her wing a bit so she wouldn't be scared because I didn't want to disturb her. And then I patted a baby bump and that was really nice. And then I felt it's a bit intrusive, like patting a woman's belly that you don't know is pregnant, you know. So I then started backing away and I backed away about 6 metres and she rose up and came up and swam up onto my chest and just stayed there. It had to do with my body warmth, I'm not, you know, but for her to trust me enough to come up and do that, that was really nice and touching. And I've had lots of odd things like that happen, so they're quite moving. They stop you feeling in any way that they're something you can fish and eat. I still eat fish and chips, but I have a bit of trouble doing it. When people get involved in that sort of environment without the human complications of problem children or problem grandparents or problem husbands or wives or problems with their job or their body, all that sort of stuff, that's gone. It washes away. The wind blows through one ear and out the other, and they become involved in just nature at its best. It's a real blessing to have that within walking distance of virtually everybody in Melbourne. well, not quite walking distance, but certainly a couple of k's in the car. You've got to really protect it and look after it.